We on the war tour, ladies, we got the plan. Going into every place with a mic in our hand. East side, west side, up top, south side. We on the war tour, ladies, we got the plan. Going each and every place with a mic in our hand. Hey, this is exactly what the city been missing. Let's get them jumping and twisting, thinking and reminiscing. I'm hoping you comprehending this is vital. And later, future, hope you ain't gon' find another like a flow. We gon' keep the conversation vital. I love you can't deny it, no sir, no ma'am. It's like throwing rocks to the train. We ain't gon' never slow down. I'm cool as heavy. And yes, I mean, if we put it there, spread love. We got enough to go around. Politics is usually way out in the inner city. Let's talk about what matter, but still keep it clear. Tell them how the people feel it. Exercise your First Amendment. Freedom to speak your mind regardless of religion. No opinion is your opinion. I ain't arguing with you. Or maybe I am a war winning number one in the hand. I switch it up. Now watch me work when I get this. She picks it up and she gon' drop a couple jewels. It's enough. We on the war tour, ladies. We got the plan. Going into every place with a mic in our hands. We on the war tour, ladies. We got the plan. Going each and every place with a mic in our hands.
Welcome to the show. Welcome, 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 welcome. I am Lady Wu. This is Vital every Sunday night at 7 o'clock p.m. right here on V94.9 WATV. I got my people with me. Introduce yourselves, everybody.
What's going on? It's your boy, Ready Eddie.
Hey, it's our Lillian K. Bushlon.
And it's none other than your boy, Dwayne, the meat doctor, Big Daddy in the building.
It's Marshall, the intern.
All right. Welcome in, everybody. It's been a minute. It's been 2 weeks. I don't know that I've done 2 weeks back to back off the air in ever.
Oh, wow.
Ever. So 2 weeks now. Then we're here live tonight. Then we out again.
We outside.
We outside.
Time, baby.
Yeah, it's summer. Like it. I mean, I'll just say that. That's the best. That's the nicest way to say that we're gonna be out. Vacations are happening. People are just kind of enjoying the nice weather. Do you all like this weather? You like this season?
I don't like hot.
It's hot.
I don't like hot.
You don't like Eddie?
I spent some time outside today and went back in, and my eyes had to readjust. That's how little time I spend outside.
Yeah.
I don't. Me and the son, we got an arrangement. We don't fool with each other like that.
I mean,
I like it until I have to work because, it's no trees in the cemetery. So we have to burn up in black. So,
oh, yeah.
I never realized that. No trees in some.
Yeah, it's not really that many trees.
I was going to say some of them, but they're like decorative.
Yeah.
Oh,
So no
so you
shade
got to
for
clear
us.
them out so you can have space. Yeah.
Well, the body don't fertilize. Okay, I don't know.
Maybe in a box.
Okay,
In some.
you're right. I was just my thoughts.
Yeah, it's not
call
green
myself.
burial.
Oh,
We ain't gotten there yet.
Okay.
We're getting there though.
I love it. I like the energy of the summertime.
Gotcha.
And then the idea that you can dress how you want in the summer.
No, you can't. Let's talk summertime violations.
We're
okay?
gonna definitely
There's some summertime violation codes.
Bruh.
Bro. I don't care what size. It's just some summertime violations.
Definitely coming.
We need to talk about, you know what I'm saying?
We are going to have that conversation. We've had graduations to happen. We've talked about, we're going to talk about that. That's coming. Other things have happened this week. Just other news. Speaking of summertime travel, people travel in the summer. You think about booking trips and where you're going, and the beach is a spot that people want to go.
Speaking of trips, though, vital on location, summertime. We outside. We're gonna vitalize the community this summertime. That's what we gonna do.
Okay, well, you put it together. Let us know where to be. Let your girl know where to go.
We got it.
Because it has been years since we've been in the streets. So yeah, it's probably time.
It's time we outside.
Okay. We outside. Cool. But as far as like being outside, the NAACP is saying don't be outside in Florida. And this is like the season where everybody goes to Florida. And I'm just trying to see like okay. Does anybody have any insight on that? Like the NAACP has made an announcement to us to stay away from Florida because of legislation and DeSantis, and that blacks have been profiled and different things are going on there that are against the African Americans and people of color. But I'm like, people of color live in Florida, so what they gonna do? They gonna move? What's the expectation? How do you boycott a state? How does that go?
Well, I think first of all, it's about
taking revenue from them. A lot of time when you deal with people and those are in charge, you don't catch their attention until you start hitting them in the pockets.
Okay.
So it's not the revenue that lives there, it's the revenue that's coming there. So if you minimize or you lower some of the tax dollars, some of the revenue, because Florida's a destination place. You know what I'm saying? It's a vacation. It's a place where people go. And when they go, they spend plenty of money.
Right.
So if you can start hitting them in the pockets, then some other thing, I think that's the first start of the boycott or the getting the attention that you're doing something wrong. And we're going to show you by touching your pockets first.
Okay.
I think that, well, the pathway that this is going down from the director of the NAACP is just the pathway of all this LGBT legislation, the rejecting the teaching of CRT and the propaganda surrounding that. Last month in Florida was Confederate month, Confederate History Month.
Mm-hmm.
And so, which was a rebranding of history or rewashing of the history as it pertains to slavery and Black struggles. It just seems like the state is trying to just take away, the dialogue that we've been having in society about Black people in Florida. And I think that one of the biggest factors for why it's enhanced is Ron DeSantis and the Republicans in Florida passed a sweeping elections bill based on his announcement for president.
Okay.
And it did a lot of things that's going to impede on Black people voting. And I think the essence of it is, and one of the biggest things that they passed in that legislation is he's going to be able to be the governor while he's running for president. So
okay.
I think the NCAA was looking forward to the idea that because he's running for president,
NAACP.
What I say?
NCAA.
NAACP.
National what? Basketball Association.
NAACP.
Okay.
I think the biggest issue is that they were hoping that he wouldn't be able to run for president while he was running. He won't be able to run for governor, state governor while he's running for president. And so I think that this move is one to embolden people to vote for legislation that's going to support the African American community in Florida. And so I think it's more about sending a message to the Black citizens of Florida than it is to actually say, don't come to Florida. That's the only thing that makes sense. Because, ain't nobody who planned to go to Florida 6 months ago ain't finna not go to Florida.
Right. So listen to this. Under the leadership of Governor DeSantis, the state of Florida has become hostile to Black Americans and in direct conflict with the democratic ideals that our union was founded upon. That's what the NAACP president and CEO Derrick Johnson said. He should know that democracy will prevail because its defenders are prepared to stand up and fight. We're not backing down, and we encourage our allies to join us in the battle for the soul of our nation. The advisory was made May 23rd, and it was a couple of days before DeSantis made his announcement on Twitter that was botched. It kept messing up on Twitter.
Yeah.
When he was trying to say he's gonna run for president, it got messed up. So then, it was messed up. In an interview with CBS News, Johnson explained what went into the group's decision. And he says, we began to look at the pattern and the comments along with the public policy that Governor DeSantis and the Florida legislative body began to enact. And we recognize that it is not only a direct attack on the African American community, but the Latino community, on women, the LGBTQIA plus community, and that's a problem. He's using his platform as governor to try to promote otherism. Have you ever heard of otherism?
Mm-hmm.
Otherism. That's different. Otherism or racial hate and division. That should not be the case. And America needs to understand as he prepares to run for the presidency, we cannot stand as a nation another individual occupying the White House with this type of belief system. Okay. So we go on or not? Say Florida is openly hostile toward African Americans, people of color, and LGBTQIA plus individuals. The NAACP travel notice states, before traveling to Florida, please understand that the state of Florida devalues and marginalizes the contributions of and the challenges faced by African Americans and other communities of color.
Is that not happening in other states, though?
Okay, intern, you are so smart. So, thank you. Yeah, speak on it.
Yeah, we literally live in Alabama. Anywhere in the South, just 2020 overall, I know no one can forget, how high the racial tension was, not
Right.
in Florida itself, just across the country. So to put it all on one state, saying like don't go there, like you're like kind of at risk anywhere you go as a Black person, to be honest. Even outside of the country, people
And
don't like
okay.
us.
Okay.
So,
And
Oh, go ahead.
I love that the NAACP is taking a stand and making, suggestion that
yeah.
we don't travel there. But what I really love is Disney. Disney is saying we're not going to build it, so they're not going to come. They shut down a $1 billion plan for a complex for Disney. They have pulled out of a Star Trek, I think, type hotel where each guest paid $1,200 a night. So they're basically telling people don't come, and we're not going to build these great things, and we're not going to do all these great things that you would love to see, because we want to put our money where our mouth is and not bring our money to Florida. So I think that Disney, not only do they show through their new movie, shout out to Little Mermaid, because oh my gosh, it felt so good to see a Black girl on screen.
That's what's up.
Oh my gosh, they pulled the thuds here. But anyway, I love that they are in every single way in their culture, company culture, period. They're saying that we're not standing for anyone not being treated equally. So I love that Disney is making that big stand of not gaining the money they could gain, because that was a big hotel they're going to be shutting down. If you're getting $1,200 per guest per night, that's some big money you lose in there.
Man, what?
And imagine how much they put into that hotel, but they're letting Florida know, look, we'll risk losing the money because we're going to make it other ways. It doesn't matter. But we're going to show you all that we're not going to stand for this, and we're going to pull our money from you guys, because I'm sure they're probably one of the biggest revenue gainers for the state.
And I'm thinking that with everything else going on, like our intern said, it's happening in other states. But when you have someone who is sitting in office and has the ability to make things happen right now for you, like can change or push forth agendas at this moment. I mean, real life, live agendas. Like you say, he passed something right before he announced. He put something through. He put something on the table right before he's going to do something. So he has the ability to not only think it, but to make it happen. And I think that's why the light of the you know what I'm saying? The light was shined on Florida per se, because some of them want to do things like this, but they don't really have somebody in pocket. There are people who want to be in pocket, but he's in pocket and can make some things happen that can
Like
really
right now.
and that can really change the circumference of the agenda for African Americans in his state.
Oh man.
And the biggest issue is that he's just very aggressive. Like he says Florida is where woke goes to die. And we know that they've equated woke to things like just blackness, the truth about history, LGBT community, the Latino illegal immigration. Because, Florida couldn't even truck drivers wouldn't even come into Florida because they changed the laws about licensing. And so he's creating big problems in his state. And I think that he's doing it to make himself look better for a presidential run rather than what's actually functional for the state. And at any given time, they could be passing legislation that creates greater problems for minorities, because that's what they've been doing actively. No other state really doing that right now. I think
because our governors aren't running for president.
Well, the most recent legislation that states as a whole have been aggressive on has been abortion legislation. But I think these southern states are probably using Florida for ground zero to see what works.
Right.
And then, Meemaw gonna be behind them real soon.
Right. So do these conversations scare us? Like, are we, this is kind of what it is anyway. Like Marshall said, this is where we live every day.
It scares me. One thing really scares me is that he is trying to wipe away basically our culture. I think that's where our community has to get involved to really teach our children about our history, since it's not being taught in schools. Basically, I mean, if you lose your culture, you lose your identity. And I really think that this is a time that instead of just letting it go under the table, whatever, these communities in Florida need to get together, continue to talk about the arts of the history, the history of how alligators, which, babies were given to alligators in Florida. That's what needs to be taught to these children. versus let's just sweep this on the rug. We don't have to worry about it. If you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going. So we definitely, I mean, we don't have to fight it in the school system, just within our communities. Just keep on teaching our kids where we came from.
Well, I'm with Lydia. I believe that. And my thing is that the eracism of it all, that they're trying to erase things and make it go away, and to make us feel like, the forgetism. Like a lot of us, we get to a certain point, like you go to Florida retire, you go there for a certain thing, and because you reach a certain pinnacle or a plateau in financial status or the ability to be amongst, the certain or the elite or whatever it is that you put in your mind, you just act like, oh yeah, well that didn't happen, or it wasn't as bad as we thought, or it's not what they're saying. The narrative is just this or that, and then we want to forget it so that we can still be in the realm of the company of those people in that mindset. And that's the fear. The people that like to be acting like they forgot. That's the fear for me.
But even, I just look at that with the critical race theory and how they feel about it. You can't erase it, and then you still you're still doing what your folk did, like you're just doing it in a different way. So like we may not talk about what they're doing, but we're living what you're doing. So why you don't want us to talk about it? You're doing it too. Like there's gonna be history lessons soon that the NAACP told us don't go to Florida. Why they said that's gonna be in a book too at some point. So what we supposed to do with that? Act as if that's not happening? So I don't understand that part. Like how you gonna be mad about what you actually did? We have proof of what you actually did. We lived through what you actually did, and now here we are living through what you're actually doing. So why we can't talk about it?
It's not even about what happened. It's their excuse is that our kids don't deserve to be shamed and guilted because of these things that happen. So it's a greater net positive gain for society if we just let white kids live under this veil of ignorance about what actually happened, so that they don't feel bad about it while we're actively still having what's going on to us. And to y'all's point about like what's the big difference? It's happening all over the place. The unfortunate reality is we lived with this existence of conditioned normalcy to where the fear of anything that could happen to us at any time, it just ain't something that shake us. It just ain't something that's gonna make us cancel our Florida trip, because it could happen in Alabama, it can happen in Georgia,
okay,
it can happen in plenty of places. So yeah, I mean, okay, it can happen, but we exist with the idea that we okay with the fact that this active fear going on. Like if the Klan ain't burning up, if you don't drive to Florida and see crosses burning all down the street,
going to the beach,
if you don't see that overtly, the threat of what could happen to us always exists. It never shut off.
So that's why I say I don't know if it's just that we're okay with things. It is how do we describe that? I don't live in fear. I'm going to live my life, and I know that I'm Black, and I know that this house that I'm going, because when you go to Florida now, the GPS be trying to take you around the tolls and stuff, and you get on a red clay road, and you see a Confederate flag. What do you think? What are you thinking when that happens?
I'm not in a
Keep
good place.
going.
Yeah.
But are you scared, or are you like, where are we mentally with that? Are we going back in the day thinking like, dang, so what do you do? Where do you go?
I mean, we still have sundowning areas here in Alabama. So yeah,
Would you care to explain what that is?
Okay, so that is a term for you better not be caught there after dark if you're a certain color or a certain hue. We have one that when you're heading towards Huntsville, you might hit. So it's just in my mind that I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah, I've been that place.
Did you know that?
I've been to that place.
Going to A&M?
Yeah.
We'll tell you about it off air. We'll describe the exit to you.
We're not gonna start a protest outside of Inslee, but
it is.
It's a thing.
Yeah,
it's a thing. It's a known thing.
I think it's at least 60 cities still in the U.S. that still. I'll look it up in just a second, but yeah, I think it's like at least 60 cities that you better not be caught there at a certain time of night.
Yeah.
Now anything gonna happen to you, we don't know, but that's the fear.
Just so it's just something that it's a respected type thing. Like what I saw, and see, this is what I talked to my guys about this in our group, and I'm like, look, you can be like, if I tell my children and just people here, you can be whoever you want to be. You can go wherever you want to go. You can do whatever you want to do, but you Black. So remember now at 6 o'clock, you got what?
But see, here's the thing though. I get all that, and I get us understanding and being all of that and not living in fear. But the reality of it is that it's not built for you to win if you're not smart.
Okay.
My thing, and this is what me and Eddie talked about earlier off air, we have to create a group of people, but especially young Black African American males who become better thinkers and processors and not just be emotionally off the cuff and running at it, right? Because they think they can. It's just simple.
Okay.
You know, when I hear travel advisory warning, I don't hear don't come here. What I hear is if you pull up and it's like 4 F-150s over there in the side of the gas station,
Ooh.
probably want to get gas somewhere else.
Woo!
What I hear is if you need to turn around, you probably shouldn't pull into somebody's driveway when you in Florida.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Just pull somewhere else. You know, you probably need to do some research. The people who went to Mexico that took that detour, they didn't read that you shouldn't go to this town because this is a town with cartel stuff going on in here. So figure out which places in Florida, if any, are sundown towns, or if any of the Florida towns got, you know, a Black community that's now a lake. You know, there might be a hostile community around there. Like, pay attention to where you at. Gas up when you on the bottom of Alabama if Florida gonna be a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, or fly. Don't drive. Fly somewhere, and then from there, make sure you got all your plans together. Make sure you're gonna be in a well-lit city. Make sure you don't got to be driving through no little boondocks town. I know it might be a little,
because GPS gonna be like, turn right.
Yeah, it might be a little 70-mile detour to get you to this little thing that they say you should do in Florida if you here, but it don't say you should do it if you Black. Some things is just not gonna be for everybody in the place that you at, you know. So I think that you should just take all these things under consideration and be more vigilant about this situation.
You should. Go get this phone back from me. I was just at Orange Beach last week, and you mean to tell me when I was out after dark, something could have happened to me?
That's what it says on
It's
there.
a sundown town.
Hey, in Vestavia Hills, that one really surprised me. Yeah.
Wow. Let's just call them out. Arab, Chickasaw, Coleman County, Dixie. I ain't going there anyway. Dixie. We're going to Dixie. Baby, what? I go the other way. Fife or Fifth? I would say Fife. F-Y-F-F-E. I ain't never even heard of it. Not going. Good Hope. We ain't heard of Good Hope. And it's called Good Hope. That ain't true.
That's almost everywhere. The northern Alabama just seems like a downtown half of the sundown half of the state.
Oh, let's keep going down. Holt's Bluff, Hansville. Is that Nauvoo? Aniana? Yeah, I know Aniana.
Yeah, we know where that's at.
Orange Beach.
Yeah.
Sand Mountain. Where's that?
Never been
We
there.
ain't going there.
We ain't going there.
We don't know about some of these places for a reason. They ain't made for us. We ain't got no cousins in these places or nothing.
And this is just Alabama cities.
Vestavia Hills.
Yeah, I never knew about that one.
Don't get off on the Wix. 31.
West Point. West Point.
Yeah,
No.
that's it.
You do?
And Winston County.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well,
And note, all of these names that were written were not created by us. They are on the internet, and we just read them. So please don't call or send us any hate mail. It's on the internet, and you can read it for yourself.
Wow. So you just found out about some places. So I'm gonna
shout out to Tougaloo College. That's who put them up there.
thank you, Tougaloo.
Thank you, Tougaloo.
Thanks. Y'all remember the Green Book was put out for that reason back in the day. These are places that are safe. You go here because it's green. These are places that are set up for you all to visit. If you visit here, you can call these people. You can eat at this restaurant. Man.
That's why I hate they canceled that show that was with Journey Smollett. That was
Lovecraft
teaching
Country.
everybody. Yes, Lovecraft Country was teaching a lot of people things that they wouldn't have known. And the show that she was on before that, Underground, was the most accurate depiction of slavery I've ever seen. And both of those shows were canceled.
Yeah, Misha. Did y'all see
Green.
Misha Green? Did y'all see the second half of what she planned for Lovecraft Country season 2?
I didn't get to see it.
She had a breakdown of the country where it's basically like the United Union of African Americans, and then white lands in the middle. It was some revolutionary way of looking at America based on a different racial breakdown. So I just imagine that. I imagine that whole ways of visions of looking forward in these shows probably were too aggressive for white America to accept. Because both of the shows were very successful when they were canceled.
Amazing shows. I think what it took over $1 million. Well, it was Oprah didn't buy Underground because each show took millions of dollars to make. That's how good the show was.
Wow.
It was what, 2 seasons?
Yeah, 2
for
seasons
Underground and 1 season for Lovecraft.
See, and that's almost like how we got into this conversation. The things that are tools, educational pieces, critical race theory, and then the concern, like this deep concern that they have for things being put out. You know, you don't have to find it in a book. You can actually watch this show. Well, yeah, we're not going to renew that because y'all ain't gonna watch this. Like, nope.
And
Not
then
gonna do
the
it.
narrative controllers, you know what I'm saying? Like the shameful part of it all, in total, just blatant honesty, is that they control, or they're controlling what we get to see. They control the narrative because of the money. You know, the money tells you what to look like, the vision. That's why you see what's on television, why you hear what's on the radio. That's why when you look at the backdrop of a lot of subliminal messaging, it's about who has the money to control and what's being put out there and what we're willing to put money out behind. So we'll put money behind a show that's teaching you nothing and being tomfoolery and showing you people fighting and being disregarded and disrespecting each other. And then when it comes to these shows, oh, we got to cancel. We can't afford it.
Yeah, so that sends me to thinking about BET and the big buy that's supposed to be happening. You got whoever and Tyler Perry coming together to buy it. But then I'm now, like, with you saying that, I'm thinking about the stuff that Tyler Perry been putting out. Like,
I'm okay with certain messages that are starting to get put through because representation matters. I know a lot of guys on Sunday nights, you would see them having a come apart because of power and seeing a gay scene. But shout out to Gay Pride Month. I'm an ally for life. Yay.
Yeah.
But so I'm okay with some of those things being,
Yeah.
because some child, some teenager wants to see why my feelings are that way.
right.
And how do people handle those things on TV? Just like we enjoyed seeing the scenarios of Vanessa having big fun on Cosby Show. And we remember that to this day. We're smiling now because we know what happened that day. They need to see that too. So I'm okay with some representation being aired now that some people are kind of fighting. But what would be some representation that we wouldn't want to see on TV? Or what would the narrative be that we don't want to see?
Well, I'm speaking on totally negative, but we haven't even reached the point of, you know, those type of negative. I'm just saying the negative content of guns and drugs and violence in our communities and all the things that we've been. Yeah, but
I was just about to say that's the one they talk about, and I'd be like, "What? Who are you talking about?"
but the thing is, it's being pushed, and that's what it's being put, and it's made to make us believe. Not that they're not good shows, not that they don't depict the reality, but I think at some point in time we need to have an even scale and allow people to choose. Don't just keep. I want to lose weight. Well, you can, but all I'm going to make available to you is hamburgers, hot dogs, chicken wings, hamburgers, you know what I'm saying? Give me a choice and then let me eat myself into, you know what I'm saying, a frenzy. But at least give me the opportunity to have a choice at something good, something bad, some middle ground. But when you just push,
I'm pushing what you pay for. So if I am a creative and I see that this is what people are responding to, either I create because this is what my heart says do, this is what I've been guided to do, or I create because this is what my pockets have proven that I should do. And remembering when Tyler Perry started with the plays and the messages and the morals, and then now looking at Sisters and Bruh and Ruthless and the old, like, dang. My commenter right here says drugs, sex, and violence. Like, is that it? So, you know, when I think about who's going to be controlling the narrative, if you buy the Black Entertainment Television Network, what we in for? Y'all gonna bring Bobby Jones back? We gonna do what we doing?
Unfortunately, we have these dilemmas in our culture where the kind of those messages are symptoms of the ghettos that we were funneled into through the government. Like, everybody got that story, and if they don't have that story, they have one that puts them at an identity crisis with their blackness because they were embedded into whiteness. And so those people ain't even over here having a conversation about that kind of world. And so I see the media that we consume, be it comedians, be it movies and TV, or be it music, these are symptoms of what America has done to us as a community. And they have yet to give us a realistic pathway out of that without funneling us back into it. Be that canceling the TV shows that look different than that, be it a big up in the artist who exemplifies that in higher extremes. It, like, unfortunately, it's a real hard pathway out of it through capitalism that's ran by white supremacy.
And it's not going to be funded. It's just, listen, think about anything that really made any type of sense in the last decade, right? And it's either through people's own funding of their own money,
Okay.
or right, some group coming together and putting the money there. And still, when you have to go to, watch this, because you can put all the money together you want, but if the platform is still being ruled and held thumb by the one who's not wanting it out there, you can put it all together and it still can be shut down.
Well, so what we're looking at, we're discussing, both of you said, give us. You know, you're not giving us any options or giving us whatever. And then you come back and you say, when we funded ourselves, but thinking about the curve that we're already in when you start reaching for investors. So if I wanted to produce a project and I wanted it to focus on more of positive Black images and education, almost like a Reading Rainbow, something like that, I could probably get some funders for so long. How many seasons do you all think I could get funding for? Something positive and Black. It's not reality TV. It's no fighting. We're not talking about guns. We're not uplifting Pokey and Frank. We ain't doing that. It's not about drugs. It's about positive Black stuff and history.
You know when you're going to get funding?
When?
The only way you'll be able to get true funding is if you can prove to them that it's money making for them. Because if it's not going to make me any money, that's the avenue I use to reject it or to put away. Or go ahead, if you believe in it so much, sink all your money into it and then see where it goes.
Well, I mean, the evidence that we have for that is that Lovecraft Country can be shown to make you money, but at a certain point, the messaging of a Lovecraft Country supersedes what we're willing to allow you to use the money for. So, I mean, that I'm not inclined to believe that if the Black community, if I had a magic wand and I waved it and every Black member of the Black community contributed 25% of their money, including the richest people and the poorest people.
Yeah, run 25%
into a bank account. I'm not inclined to believe that money wouldn't get frozen or that bank wouldn't get repossessed.
So we can't win.
I'm not inclined to believe that white. And what would we ask for? I mean, what we gonna ask to buy a state? Like what we? We definitely not gonna be. We definitely not gonna be able to buy a state. They're gonna freeze that, or they're gonna say no. Like where they gonna let us spend that money?
Look at this comment. You never really see anything about building a safe community. Now, I don't want it to be a Cosby. I don't need that kind of show again. But that would be a dope show. Like, what does a healthy Black community look like that doesn't have to... Like, you can talk about the struggles. We can talk about the food desert. We can talk about all of that stuff. But a solution... this shows the solutions. And even if it's a sitcom, it's a family show. It ain't the Miss Pat show. It ain't... what's another show? It's not...
we had one.
Which one?
Blackish.
They ran for some seasons.
But as it got more... Watch the end of it, though. As they begin to get really more controversial,
that's when it started wrapping up.
You could see here come the end, because they were starting to like pop on some things that were really controversial in the last at least 2.5 seasons, right? Yeah. And they were hitting like some things that were mainstream television or mainstream community issues, right? And then all of a sudden, oh, you know what? It's not Blackish no more. It's kind of Black, and bam, where is it?
I think that was what you were about to get at. Like, Blackish is not the best representation because, Dre, you rich and you came out the hood and y'all like the way that they tackled the issues was more.
Some issues, but at least talked about them.
Yeah. Okay.
When they start talking about them, they had to go away.
That is a variable, but my issue with Blackish was I feel like Blackish was a black show talking to white people.
Blackish for the white.
It was fanfare for the white community.
Translated.
That's what that was. It nothing about Blackish made me feel like any black, and that's the issue with something that's black and neutral because
It's safe.
I can't think of nothing on TV that represents just black existing as black. Very much at all.
I think Everybody Hates Chris is a good representation.
Girl, get out. That's my favorite show, and that's what I was thinking. Did you see the other day where Rochelle had to go to the store and Julius gave her the food stamps and she didn't want to use them, and Chris was like, "No." He was saying we can't get cookies. We don't get Oreos. We have to get cookie.
Yeah.
It's one cookie.
That's one big cookie.
We don't get Frosted Flakes and
Where's the dollar?
we get
Where's
cereal.
the dollar, Chris?
I mean, but they old now. He on Abbott School. What's the
Oh,
name of
he's
the
in
show?
the news this
Abbott
week
Elementary.
too.
We gotta talk about him.
Yeah, we gotta talk about him. I like him. I
Girl,
like his
Michelle,
response.
Girl, that's why you in here. That's my dog. That was my favorite show. I can watch Everybody Hates Chris and laugh out loud all Saturday, all day.
As a community, we struggle as a community.
Mm-hmm.
Is the average black experience one that needs to consist of struggle? Because that's still the struggle.
Good
That's still a
times.
daddy working too much to be involved with the family as much as he want to.
Yes.
The stereotypical black mama who ain't gonna work because her husband got two jobs. Like, there's a lot of stereotypes in it. Don't get me wrong now.
I'm about to go watch TV.
But,
Oh,
but I mean, that represents the culture. But like, are we okay with those things representing the culture? Do we need to travel a little bit outside of that? Like, are we okay with seeing that as us?
that was
I
us
don't care what white
then.
people say. Are
That
we
was
okay
us
with that?
then. But then you think about, so that was us then talking about Chris at that point. Then before that, it was Good Times where all they did was struggle. Like we almost up. No,
Okay, I got a quick question now. Here's a question to the Vital and Vital listeners.
Mhm.
Is it the fact that they're relying on us being ashamed of where we came from?
As far as what the messaging that's put out.
Just period, that they're banking on the fact that we are ashamed of where we came from or where we come from. And so then we don't want it pushed, or we don't look for it because we don't want people to see, or we don't want to see ourselves in that. And we don't know how. The same way they sold us, watch this, because this was a sale.
Okay.
The same way that they sold us in the coming out of the struggle. And we want the same thing y'all have. And we fought for civil rights and the civil rights movement. And was it really, did it get us what we wanted? Did we get inclusive? Did we really get all the things we struggled and fought for real? Or did we just get a better ideal of what was supposed to be given to us and we got closer to them in our mind?
Got some social babysitters.
Hey, Eddie, you on one tonight?
I mean,
Social damn babysitters. Okay.
when we talking about integration, we talking about somebody who just, oh man, all these communities that we had to turn into lakes, we need to keep an eye on them because we don't need these popping up around America having capital.
I think it's time for a break. I feel some. It's just a breakdown.
Now we're gonna ride it out to the
We're gonna
end.
ride-
We're gonna ride it out. Well, look, Dwayne, you comment to your people in the private chat. Y'all go out to the man. My baby said I ain't never watched Blackish. Y'all got to get in the comments so other people can see.
I'm on Facebook.
I never watched
comments.
Blackish. No, they intimidated. They're intimidated by the struggle and don't want to see. Okay. Yeah, put those in the comments. So let's see. Let's go back up. What about the Jeffersons? They did move on up to the east side, but when I go to the east side of Birmingham, I don't feel the same. I feel like, dang, I should have stayed over there.
Finally got a piece of the pie.
Man, give it back.
Finally.
Give it back.
Finally.
We'll talk about that. Let's look at this one. I'm loving this. For a lot of people, Good Times was real, except it sanitized a lot of poverty, which it did. Television has always been the great American escape. Therefore, whites never wanted to see themselves critiqued, let alone demonized. Okay. Thank you. I like that one. Let's see.
Did any of y'all see the interview where the actor who played James talked about how they killed him off the show because he wanted Michael to be educated and be something in there? Like, I think what Good Times was an image of what white people thought black people wanted to see.
Shucking and jiving.
Yeah, in terms of how Florida's she was morally righteous to a fault,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't let nobody excel. I don't know.
Okay, so then you get Family Matters, you get the Cosbys, you get Martin, you get, I mean, everybody had a show. Patti LaBelle, you get Sister, you get, give me some more. You get Girlfriends.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that was a good
you
one.
start progressing. You get Girlfriends, and that was compared to Sex in the City. You get Martin kind of compared to Friends. You get, I'm trying to think. My favorite was Everybody Hates Chris. I would watch Good Times like that as well, even though I'm like, dang, what's the struggle?
Different world.
Different world, right? A spinoff of the Cosbys, which did talk a lot about the HBCU experience. Living single for sure. So we had a lot of shows to speak to different demographics in different situations, and I think a lot of those were very much great depictions for who they spoke to. Any of those considered universal Black shows?
Well, a lot of those shows have Black people but don't have Blackness. Like the Cosby Show had Black people but did not have Blackness, in my opinion. A white family could have been the Cosby Show and it would have been almost the same.
Yeah.
What about the one with the band who was the Garbage Man? Carl and Winslow's, the
Yes.
Winslows and
That was that's another show.
Family
that Family Matters. And then what about
Rock.
the Rock? I'm talking about Rock.
Oh, Rock.
That
Rock
was
pretty black.
Yeah.
Rock was black in all
Rock
areas.
had the
Rock.
gangsters
Rock.
come across the street and said, "We gonna sell drugs in this community, Rock."
Like, whoa.
They got a drive-by shooting at the house, but that get back into that symptom of telling a story of our origin under white supremacy that turns back into that thing that we don't want to represent us. So I mean, I guess I don't know if we even know how to create a balance of what Blackness looks like as a representation of normal Blackness, as a representation of what we deem as acceptable struggle, and a representation of the reality that there is violence in the communities that we live in because we were funneled into these ghettos through white supremacy.
And because we've been given the narrative, we didn't create it. We've been given it, and we've been given it so long that you know that sometimes we don't even realize what the reality is. We live in a false reality sometimes.
True. So when these stories are being written, like we can write a script for this show every week. But if our funders say, okay, yeah, that's cool. What about adding some blah, blah, blah into there? Or how about bringing this guest in? You know, that would be good for this particular topic. Then I bring the guest in and while I'm sitting here looking like, what? This isn't vital. This isn't the type of conversation that we have. Battelle. What? Batal. Like, no, it's vital. And because we are, a Black-owned radio station, even like as a journalist and a broadcaster, I'm going to always be true to the ethics of professional broadcasting. But we are a Black-owned station with a majority Black listeners. And for our white listeners, I want to be sure that they get some education from the conversations that we have. I think it's a two-way street when it comes to educating people on culture and not just educating them or entertaining them. So if you hear that, you can learn things from Black people who are not afraid to be Black, but who are also very much aware of what it's like being Black in America. We're not afraid to be Black because that's what we are. You can't change that. The shows that we do talk about Black issues and how we're affected from our perspective. I can't speak from any other perspective than a Black female. I don't know. I can't speak from any other place. I don't know.
Never been nobody else. That you know what I'm saying? Just think I just who I am. Just what I can speak
This
to.
is it. Now, if I can tell you what I think or what I've been told, like that's different. But I can tell you, I can write a movie about what this experience is like.
They say Tyler Perry will rain rose for everybody.
I don't want him to write for Vital. I think we can do our own. Can't we do it?
But I'm saying that to say, like, having those different vantage points is important. Like the idea that we can write from, like, I can't write from your vantage point, Woo, as a man at all. So the idea that like one person can be telling a story, and again, that's what we go back to talking about the white creators of some of these shows or white involved in these shows is like they believe that they have enough insight to the Black community from the outside looking in to believe that what their input is valuable somehow.
You said Tyler Perry can write for everybody.
No, what I'm saying is it's been reported that Tyler Perry be the only one in the writing room writing for all of his women, men, LGBT, everybody, kids, everybody, which
And I
might
mean-
not fully reflect reality.
Right. And I think that we can all tell a story like, okay, yeah, like your mind will tell you that this would be next. And then we should probably say this here. Yeah. But when you want to get into some real entertainment, some vital entertainment where people are getting messages and laughing and crying and, can walk away with something, have learned something from it, who better to write it than those who have lived it, those who experienced it? These comments are going in. Thank you all so much. Blacks are not a monolith. We are diverse like everyone else. Girlfriends picked up where Living Single left off. A Different World spoke to a whole generation and did. Do we consider Family Matters a black show? He said, sorry, I don't. It was all,
It's a show with
all
black
black
people,
people.
with very little blackness.
okay.
Again, when I say that, I mean they had an episode about race where they pulled over
It was
Eddie
real
Winslow. They had these prop episodes where it's like we'll use these episodes to hinge on the racial divide in the country, but at the end of the day, family they could have all been a white family,
Yeah.
and it would have a white Steve Urkel, a white all of that would have felt the same.
all right.
I mean,
Could Fresh Prince do the same thing?
how we
How we
forget
be-
Fresh Prince?
I see my
Tripping.
wife in the comments
I
too.
got hers up
She's-
there, too.
I just seen
Girlfriends
her.
was canceled during the writer's strike in Hollywood. Thank you, sis. Just like right now, there's a writer's strike. Living Single was the Friends before the concept was stolen
True
for
story.
Friends. They
Well,
stole it.
the only reason I don't think Fresh Prince could do it is because Will Smith kind of had a black swag, I guess. Can nobody else be Will Smith?
True story.
No white person could be Will Smith. It's just they just ain't got the juice.
But he ain't really just the blackest. Like, yeah, all right.
But that was as black as it was gonna get on TV.
He was a safe
at that-
black.
Yeah.
I mean, he had on J's. He had Malcolm
Yeah,
X on his
fade.
wall in the early episode.
And that's after Dwayne Wayne. Okay.
So I mean, I don't think that's a 1-for-1 exchange on a white show, but it's something there that like make it different.
Ladies, do you all know what we're talking about? You're like, look,
Not a clue. Okay, so
Show it. Tell me
vital,
about-
vital background. Here we go. We have two interns in here who are legitimately like 2 maybe 2 decades old, and they're like, what are these shows that they speak of? Y'all homework for the
finna
week.
I'm gonna go even further back for
Uh-huh.
real because like I feel like white swag looks like the Fonz. It don't look like the Fresh Prince.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So
Okay.
It's just like a different energy.
It's different. All right, let me ask the question to our ladies in studio. Our ladies are maybe 2 decades under us, maybe. Okay, so cool. What shows did you all grow up on?
That's So Raven.
Yeah, That's So Raven was not so black. Okay, what
Yeah.
else?
The Proud Family,
Okay,
Lizzie
Okay.
McGuire, Even Stevens, stuff like that. Like a lot of cartoons, I guess.
That was mostly Nickelodeon. Is that
Yeah,
mostly Nickelodeon?
Cartoon Network.
So
stuff like
did y'all have WB?
What is-
Oh, the Wayans brothers.
Come to the mic.
Oh, the Wayans brothers was pretty
Man,
black.
that was my other favorite show. I'm tripping.
Martin was blackity black.
I need to go take a nap because I'm missing all my shows.
Now, are you watching Martin now or did
Yeah.
you Martin then?
Martin, the Wayans brothers.
Okay.
Fresh Prince. I watched all.
Just for reference, how old are you?
I'm
21.
21.
Lean in the mic. So what shows were like we were watching these shows when we were 8. Like we were watching TV like I mean, yeah, but I'm saying like these shows were shows for they were like family. We watched the shows with our folk. So what shows did you like what was current for the time that you all were growing up? You said Proud Family and shows like that. What about you?
For me, I like because of my mom.
Okay.
I was watching MTV, so that was
MTV.
the old show that you guys were watching. was
So you
Martin
got
and
to see the
Fresh
first
Prince,
reality
pretty
shows.
much. And
Okay.
Summer Friends.
So okay, so maybe that's what the generations after us saw. They saw reality. That's what they grew up on. So therefore, that's why they are advanced. That's why they like what they like, and we can't really blame them for it because they didn't have the shows that we didn't. We had shows that really like would have moments.
Mhm.
Reality shows only have moments that are like in the confessional, where after you've thrown a drink, now you want to hug and talk about it.
Yeah, a
And
lot
go
of
out.
the older shows have a lot of substance.
Yeah,
Our shows
they're
these days
vital.
don't have much substance at all.
Dang.
Well, you know what? Thinking about the reality show connection to Gen Z, maybe seeing that drama unfolding in real time is what make them much more comfortable with therapy and emotions and stuff. Where we just had these curated shows They ain't never have nothing emotional or that gave us any insight to emotional
I used
intelligence.
to be crying watching.
You know what?
These
No
moments.
one went to therapy. Now that I think
It
about
wasn't a
it,
thing.
nobody.
It wasn't a thing.
Because you remember the narrative in our community back then was totally against it. It was the if you go there, then you are this. So it wasn't a push for that.
What I
We-
thought
we
was
weren't exposed because we had Frasier as a show.
I didn't watch
I liked Frasier.
I like Frasier.
Seinfeld. I watched that too.
didn't watch that.
Because I like
I
sketch
did.
comedy and
I
like
did.
I like that type of comedy where you have to think to be entertained. So like I'm watching those shows, and that was therapy, but you didn't really see it on our shows unless you saw it later on down the line. Where like I kind of can see Queen Latifah in her role on the show because she was having issues with dating, something like that, but not often.
You remember my first
The Steve
thoughts
Harvey
of
Show.
therapy was, do you all remember the episode on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where Sherman Hemsley and Wheezy came on there and they fought Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Nia Long when they were having relationship issues and they beat each other with the bag?
Yes.
That was my introduction to therapy. I was
Okay.
like, oh, that's fun. You get to go and beat folks. Okay,
I
cool.
wanna go. Okay. Oh man, y'all. In the heat of the night.
What?
That was my
Dang.
show.
In the heat of the
In the
night.
heat.
Virgil Tibbs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Man,
You can't go to the bottoms, though.
Atlanta is
Don't go
pretty
to the
black.
bottoms.
It is.
Atlanta is like,
It is.
I think it's a good medium for actually like watching something black and not being offended. Actually,
That's a show.
yeah.
Okay.
Childish
I haven't
Gambino.
watched it.
Our
Or Donald Glover.
experiences are so very much. I see sketches every single day. Like every single day, I'm watching a sketch, and I'm like, dang, I could see that on TV. I could see this somewhere. Like I'm in these moments every day, and these are just real. This is just us living, and I'm watching people walk, and I'm like, that's hilarious. And then you'll see them respond. That's who we are. We are those people. We create content even without trying, but then we don't tell the stories the right way. We'll get on social media and tell the story and get 100 likes and think we did something. No, we need to make these things be moments that people can see. Let's see. A couple more comments. Family Matters moment. When little Judy was sent upstairs and came out. What?
She came back.
Came out on the other side and turned into a porno shoot. It's true. So that is where she ended up.
Yep.
She never came downstairs.
No, she didn't.
And that it messed her up apparently.
Yeah, because like y'all left me up here.
Getting
No,
cut
the
from a
most
show that
heartbreaking one is Maia Campbell.
What was she? How about Damon? Was she on Damon Wayans show?
Not hanging with Mr. Cooper.
That was another one.
That was another one. Yeah.
LL Cool J show
in the house.
Oh,
in the house. Yeah, she's the
yeah.
most disappointing of all of them for me.
The Parenthood
Mm,
of Robert Townsend.
that was a good one.
That was pretty cool. Apparently, it was okay.
It was okay. Yeah, Robert Townsend. He's like not the blackest either. I like Spike Lee.
The
black.
Smollett family had a show. Journey Smollett,
They did.
Ryan Smollett.
They
They
had
all
a
had
show?
the whole family was on the show. All the siblings had a show together. Where their
Interesting.
parents died and the oldest were taking care of the youngest.
Y'all, Moesha, the Parkers.
That was a perfect time for that to come on during my teenage years.
Yeah,
I
'cause
needed
that's what we were
Moesha.
sitting up in our room,
Yeah.
writing in a diary,
Mm.
being weird. Okay, so
Oh, Haji. yeah.
Oh man, I bet. Look,
These
I
comments
bet,
going in. Though.
and I bet the people like, how
Wait a
they-
minute.
how
I
they
didn't get to these
this?
comments.
Yeah,
How they
comments
get on
going in.
It's vital. Just follow along. Follow along. Listen to this one. That was a play therapy. Let's see. Oh no, I thought you said play. I said, oh, you deep. He says that was a play on the original therapy scene from the Jeffersons when they fought Tom and Helen. Look at y'all going back. TV history.
That was a good episode.
Okay. Let me see. You and Big Daddy are the only ones that will remember the others were being born. Who and Big Daddy? That's what I want to know.
Not me.
Somebody don't know your age. Woo,
Like that. What?
Woo could be my daughter.
I'll take it.
How
How
y'all
about,
think we are?
I don't know. How about this one? My favorite episode of The Fresh Prince was when his daddy showed up. And then look at your profile picture. It's James Evans. All right. So this is good. Just thinking about the representation of the blacks on TV. When the blacks really be blacking. Like, where is that? Where's the education? Where are the moments where it's safe to be black? where the narrative fits what we want it to sound like and look like. And I think a lot of these shows really did, because it's not sad being black. You know, I don't know if that's what we're looking for, some type of sad depiction of being black, or well, we shall always overcome. We always have to have that show where we always got, you know, we almost there. We wait on a big break.
But the thing is, and we said this at the beginning also, you got to remember, it doesn't have to always be an extremist. Every time we introduce something, we want it to be, it's got to be extreme, or it ain't us, or that's extremely not us. We have to find a place where it's okay to share our story in the middle ground. But the problem I really think that totally exists is that we as a people don't even want to imagine or seeing somebody semi make it past, or can't believe that they've done something without doing something against it. If they can't see themselves doing it, then they can't believe you've done it, especially legally. Or you had to do something illegal to do that, or you might be, or you stealing from the folks to get that done, or you took money from, you know, it's like, why couldn't I just have learned, worked, saved, done it, and you can do it too? It's always the unimaginable for us a lot of times, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's a problem in our thought pattern, in our psyche. You know, we messed up in a lot of areas. And the first thing we got to do is admit it, and then find out how can we fix it. And that's when we call Wu and Eddie.
You know what?
Like, hey, I don't know.
You mentioned Seinfeld. I was like, I feel like we could use a black show about nothing. You know, they say Seinfeld is a show about nothing. Like, just a whole episode about somebody trying to go get some collard greens from the best soul food spot in the city.
A great sketch.
You know, like just something simple.
And you just keep it going, because that's what life is like. Sometimes it's like, dang, I can't believe I've been sitting out here in this car for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I've been off work since 3:00. It's 5, and I'm on Facebook telling y'all that I'm sitting in the car. Then I get off live, and guess what I'm doing? Still sitting in the car.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a whole show. You speak to your neighbors that walk by. You sneak and eat your food so nobody else be asking for it. You pluck whatever you got on your chin and your eyebrows, your nose. You do all of that in the car. That's a whole sketch. That's life. Then you might cry because you get to thinking about something, because you hear something on the radio, because, you know, it's life. And you all in your car. That's a sketch. Write it down, Eddie.
They said Martin was actually the first show about nothing.
Kind of, sort of, but it will follow life. Yeah. All right. Question being posed right now. What's a general reality for black folks that we'd like to see on TV?
What I was finna say is, I think white people have the luxury of existing in this limited range.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we exist on a whole range because of white supremacy, all the way from anti-black to pro-black.
Okay.
And anti-black can look like, you know, a black person that Tim Scott or Clarence Thomas or whoever you want to say it, all the way down to, you know, the Fred Hamptons.
Okay.
We can exist on a range all the way across that. So I think we're going to have TV with the hood in it. We're going to have TV with black success that's still within the range of blackness. And we're going to have TV with black success that's within the range of whiteness.
All right.
I think all the shows we named have fit in that.
Let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep the conversation going. We got to get into our next hour. We got another hour to talk about it. How black are you? Juneteenth is on the way. Be real black that day. Black Music Month is here. So we have more conversation right after these on B94.9 WATV. We're on Sunday nights. The V stands for Vital.
Oh. So y'all just unlocked a whole little thing that I didn't know about. I didn't know you had comments on the other thing. Like, I'm over here very excited.
So, hey, guys, I know you all can still hear us, so we're going to say things that are radio friendly. But if you want to keep commenting about the show, you can. So do that. We are watching the comments. What did you see, Lillian, that you didn't see?
I'd never gone on StreamYard.
Oh.
I've always read it from Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, I talked to your mom on Facebook.
Okay. So what you see, and like, I don't see the Facebook stream. So what you see is the StreamYard stream where people are coming in from like the V94.9 page.
I gotta get my friend out of
so hey, all my friends that are coming on here. I'm sorry if I never seen
you.
you.
I gotta get out of the private chat.
Yeah, and go to the comments. Yeah.
So how to just tell her go to the regular chat?
No, they're there. You're not there. You go to the regular comments.
No, I'm saying like these comments I'm getting in the chat. She needs to go to comments. She in the chat with me. She needs to go to comments.
Yeah. She should go to the comments. Here we go, y'all. And we're back. Sorry. Oh, we're back. We're back. We're back. Off air was just really short today, so we didn't have a whole lot to read in on. But let's see if you guys kept any comments going. Tubi. So yeah, that is new. That's where we are new when it comes to TV and entertainment. Are you all watching Tubi movies?
I
No.
haven't, but there's one that my funeral home is featured on that I have not seen yet.
What-
I heard it's good.
Okay.
The one that was shot here with the guy who
Jules
played yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so that's one. And there's another one. I can't think of the name of it, but we do have some Birmingham Magic City creators who are on Tubi. They put some work out and they're doing their thing there. So like when you think about the depiction of African Americans in what am I looking at? I'm not sure. I see all of you all right here, so I'm going to leave the ones that I see up. All right, so when you think about how we're represented, the question, what's a general reality for Black folks that we like to see on TV? Eddie just gave that we need a wide variety of people and lifestyles and professions and things like that, because I know that our realities are similar but not the same. So somebody else is watching and you know, they into things that I know that a lot of things that a lot of people are into, I'm not. And a lot of the things that I'm into, they're not. So they would need to see an in between. These young ladies, they ain't like a part of what I'm doing, but it may be something that ain't me. I can't relate to that. So what is a general reality for Black folks? Is it going to an HBCU? Is it going to college at all? Is it struggle?
We need a show that's universal and it's gonna have to be multifaceted. It can't. You know what the greatest thing about being Black? They never can box us in.
No.
And the problem has been that people want to box us. It's so many facets of us as Black people. But it's like when they see it, well, are the poor Negroes? Are they the rich Negroes? Are they the middle class Negroes?
all of them.
But that's what I'm saying. So
all of them, depending on
and
when
the
you
thing
catch
is,
me.
in order for us to depict the reality of a Black community, the show would have to be multifaceted, and it would have to almost be running 4 different shows at one time, where you would have to keep up with all of the different, because we're those people. Everybody we talked about just now, we're all those people.
Yeah.
And we just can't stick to the box, and people can't grasp the fact that we're so talented and so much of an overcomer and so much able to get in the struggle, able to fit in the middle class, able to turn it up on the high end too, right? That it's like, this can't be this. No, this,
it's really
that's
this
just
is
us.
really how it is. It really goes this way.
Well, I got a way to touch every single Black struggle, Black privilege, Black everything.
What's that?
Come down and film at the funeral home. Everybody got to die.
Wow.
True.
You're always gonna meet someone that's in a struggle situation. You're gonna
True.
meet someone who wants mama to go out like a queen. Then you got a family that we a family working together. So you all really don't know the behind the scenes of that, but that's
Okay.
very interesting.
Okay. So I can see that. I mean, so many different spaces that we occupy would show different experiences of Blackness and would be entertaining, would be educational, would be all of that. But would it be something that everybody could connect to? I think that's a good one. But just like one of these comments says, that was College Hill. It was College Hill for people that are seeking education. There's some people who have already established, I'm not going to college. That ain't what I do. My family ain't interested in college. That's not us. So I can't relate to College Hill. I like the drama on there. I think it's some fine dudes on there, some fine girls, but that ain't me. I need a show.
Have you watched the new season?
I'm going to watch it this season
haven't
because they will
watched
be at the Alabama State University. So I'm going to watch that.
I've been
I think
watching.
You have
Mhm.
worth watching.
I really don't.
Don't
I really don't even care what it looks like. I don't care what it looked like as long as it's 100% written by Black folks.
Mm.
But I do think that, and from a range of different ways how Blackness exists, and I think that it could be episodic. It could be something like Black Mirror or The Twilight Zone, where like
Okay.
everybody get their little 45 minutes to tell a story of Blackness, and then there's another story of Blackness, and like all that whole series can fit in a whole range of how Blackness exists and how Blackness is seen through the lens of people who are writing for those experiences.
What about Afrofuturism?
Mm.
Where was I? In DC, and went to the Museum of blackness. That's not what it's called. It's a national museum, but
That's what it really
it's
is.
really the museum of everything black.
A
And
to Z.
yeah, like for real, like layers and layers of
Mhm.
everything black. And the final floor was Afrofuturism, and they highlighted Erica Badu, the Parliament, Funkadelic, Outkast. They put the mothership in there. Wakanda, these different elements of black futurism where we can see ourselves in outer space as, you know, in different eras of life. Like, what do we look like outside of our reality, right? Like, we can be anywhere. We're in space. We on Jupiter. We in Mars. This is what I imagine for whatever that area is. So is it that we need to be exposed to these different places and ideas to be able to think that, yes, blackness is worth all the money, invest all of it into black entertainment so that we can be educated in a vital way?
Well, you know, the reason that Afrofuturism became such a strong push is because every time you watch something white in the future, they can't even conceptualize black people existing no more.
Oh,
So I think like that push came from the idea that like we gonna be here in the future, y'all. So like, and
we ain't going nowhere.
Probably more of us if the sun get about 5 millimeters closer to the earth, white folks gonna have to wear some hazmat suits out here. But we gonna be here in the future.
We'll still be here. All right, so more comments. These are good. Queen Sugar and Greenleaf showed us in very different ways, but not the traditional TV shows. I like that comment, and I did like Queen Sugar. I told my grandson that if he wants to be bad, I'll take him to the funeral home the next time a murder happens and let him see the aftermath. Sounds like you may have the new Scared Straight because they did take that out. They banned that.
Then he gonna be coming to see me.
Need some spirit therapy.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
You don't understand what I just saw.
Y'all know how many kids I have had to see because they parents done orchestrated them going to the juvenile detention center when they was like under 12. As a matter of fact, it's illegal in the state
now
for any facility to do that, which one facility was still doing it, which I had to talk to the judge to get him on there to not be doing that for these families. But
say that because I kind of want to see it again. Okay, how about this show, The Upshaws? I loved The Upshaws during the pandemic. Did you all see that?
Never saw it. What is
It's
that?
dope. It like you said, Mike Epps, Ken Fields, one of the sites. Great show. Go check it out. They are supposed to be coming back, but I haven't seen anything. Then again, I haven't been on the fire seat. But yeah, that was a good one. Who else? A Black Star Wars is an idea that's been presented right here. What did you all think about Shonda Rhimes' Bridgerton and Queen Charlotte? I didn't see either of those. Did you watch those? Y'all liked them? Yeah, I hadn't
Loved. The first season was amazing because I don't know if it was because a little fine sexy, but the guy, hey,
little fine sexy.
But that second season lost me, but the third season ties in what was going on the first season. So if you ever wonder what was going on with Queen Charlotte's husband, it answers that in the third season.
Who is Queen Charlotte?
Queen Charlotte, is it Charlotte? That's the main character. Yeah.
Okay.
Queen Charlotte is the queen that basically runs this area, and she's the one who puts on the balls, and she picks the diamond of the season. She's highly regarded. She's like Queen Elizabeth.
Okay.
And she has a husband, but you never see him for real. But you want to know why you don't see the king. Third season. Yes.
See, I'm smart. I can write a show. Okay, cool. So people need to watch Bridgerton.
You have to watch the first season
if you
to
like
really appreciate
pieces.
the third.
I mean, I watched the first season and it was good, but I don't like timepieces, and so it won't take me any further.
So it wasn't about the historical. It didn't teach anything. It just showed black people in this space that they could have been. Okay.
But the music will get
story.
you. If you love music, you'll be like, wait a minute, is that Outkast but with strings?
Okay.
Like, Outkast isn't on there, so don't get excited, Outkast fans. But there is like Beyonce, they play a lot of songs that are catchy.
I gotta come back to. Let me write that down.
Yeah,
go ahead.
They have really good string pieces of those songs in the movie. I mean, in the TV show.
You're gonna ask why I had to write down Beyonce in about 2 minutes.
All right, cool.
Let's go to these comments right quick. We don't need another Housewives. Nothing. We have seen enough rap, weed, project shows. Why not show the hardworking men and women in our communities? What you say?
Tell them, intern.
What you
said?
said?
No one wants to see that. Like, people aren't gonna watch that. They want the drama. Like someone said, sex, drugs, and money. Like all of that stuff sells. People actually doing right and like having substance, people don't want to watch that. They want the foolishness.
Mm.
I like to feel like
Valley.
I can be a drug lord. Like every show that I like happens to be about drug lords,
we've
and they have
seen.
me feel. Yeah,
I'm like, y'all look, I don't know what that's about with her, but she likes it.
I don't know. I feel like
She likes it.
a little bit of in between, you know, the hood, the rich. I feel like Insecure is a good
girl.
show for
Yes.
that because she shows the
hate this
struggle
guy.
and like when
What?
they get jobs.
Man, that was me. Oh my goodness. Then being Mary Jane, I can't stand. Y'all know I don't like every. But the show,
that show was good.
it was a good show.
That was a good show.
Being Mary Jane. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Hold tight. Talk amongst you.
Who say So nobody mentioned Uncle Clifford and the blackness of that.
Oh, at the paint.
At the
We
paint.
I
did
had
not.
to think about it. My bad. I was like,
We
who
did
is
not.
Uncle Clifford? Because I'm thinking Clifford the Big Red Dog. No,
And
that
I
ain't
liked
it.
Uncle Clifford.
Yeah.
Oh man. A show that addresses African Americans, Caribbean, and main continent Africans finding parallels in America. There was a show. That was a reality show, and I can't think what the name of it was. Came out during probably the pandemic. Let's scroll down just a little bit more. I can't stand Gabrielle either. Did I
But
say that
being
out
Mary
loud?
Jane was so
It was
relatable.
good. Happy Caribbean Heritage Month. Yes, sir. So yes, let's put some claps on for that. Caribbean Heritage Month. And you know we have to talk about all the other celebrations. I do it every day in the midday, but we're gonna do it tonight because we have some things to talk about. I want to just ask this question first. I don't know if y'all know the answer or not, but I've often wondered why the LGBTQIA plus community likes Beyonce so much. Is explain to me because I still don't really understand why. Like she,
Come on, Queen.
was
Yes.
it?
Come
Yeah,
on,
what was
It
it?
Queen.
just came out, and I feel like personally that was dedicated for them.
Most
Okay.
You know, it's a
definitely.
lot of hoorah.
Yes.
And, you know, yeah.
So the Renaissance did this.
Her whole
Well, I
concert,
Yeah,
honestly,
they loved
from
Beyonce before.
from the clips of her concert, I don't know if it's because Beyonce has gotten older or what, but Beyonce show does not look like the Beyonce that I've seen in years past. And I actually have tickets in Houston and Atlanta. I'm not interested in going anymore. Because it really does seem like it's a homage to the gay community, which I love. Pose was
Yeah.
my show. That was a
I
excellent
love
show.
Pose too.
Oh my God, Pose was
What
so
we could have
good.
talked about Pose. Look at Dwayne.
Yeah.
What the hell is Pose?
Pose was a good
He
show.
got
You,
the- he
you
got the-
gotta
what the hell
watch
is
the
that?
whole thing. Mom, like everybody
It's
loves
an
that show.
awesome
Even
show.
my mom liked that show.
It was just like the face was just like, oh here, what is Pose?
No, you know,
It was
I
amazing.
watch TV, but I don't really watch TV. A lot of these shows, I've heard of them, but I haven't watched it. But you know what I'm saying? So
But
it's
her
cool.
concert looks like a celebration of pride. It looks like a pride community reach of love, you know? Like I don't see it in my homeboys like, yeah, we going to see Beyonce.
You must not know about me. What? I was just wondering about that.
Well, and actually, I listened to the words of the album they're talking about the Renaissance,
Yeah.
and it actually was the introduction to "Here I Am for You." I mean, I have a husband, I have children, but I'm for you, and I'm for you with the ability to pull others in to the community to make them aware of you. And like me and Ed was talking about before the show, it's about the awareness. It's about the here we are, and you've been done so wrong. That equal or the equal rights that they want now, that they need to have. And so when that happened, it was the pulling in, and we have somebody with a substantial legitimacy in the community that's going to represent us, and I'm going to be that one. And when
Okay.
that Renaissance album dropped, it was her way of saying, I'm with you all.
Now the background story to that is she dedicated to her uncle, I believe, that was gay. But let's be
Uncle
real.
James.
Uncle
Beyonce is
Johnny.
a marketing genius. That's why you've never heard her really talk. She knows her strong point. She sings. But she's really doing that because she doesn't have a house music record. Notice Drake had a house music record. A lot of people are trying to break into other genres. This is her attempt at doing that too, because every celebrity, when they get on a certain level, once they've dominated one thing, they want to dominate every single segment. So that's, I really think, what she's doing. Yeah, it's a great homage. Yeah, homage to my uncle and to the gay community. But she's trying to count her coins in different markets.
I think all those things can be true. I mean, I think it can be that she's a marketing genius. She's marketing toward the gay community. She's doing it because the time now has embraced the gay community more. So she could have did this homage to her uncle 15 years ago, but the times have changed to where she can do it now, feel comfortable. And I think as far as the LGBT community, I think it's very important for them to identify safe spaces. And I think that when you as an artist begin to market yourself as a safe space, you feel more comfortable being at a Beyonce concert than the Baby concert.
Okay.
You know what
I
I'm
like
saying?
that. I do. I love that. I actually love that. So if that is the approach, I want to be the artist that creates a safe space. I
Mhm.
want to be the personality that creates a safe space. And I think I do pretty good. I asked you all about getting me some new panelists that didn't look like us. Nobody brought anybody. So I tried. Any comments?
I don't see people outside of black people on a daily basis.
You meant
Like,
nobody that's fat,
seriously.
or you wanted people of other? Oh, because I'm just asking. I mean, when you say they don't look
Other
like us.
ethnicities.
Oh, okay.
Other ethnicities. So I tried, right? Like you want to be able to not only have a safe space, but also an inclusive space, a diverse space. And I will say that I have seen Beyonce as an artist bring in people, but I've also seen other artists do that. But I'm just wondering
I
why
got a
that
guy.
love for Beyonce. What?
I got a guy. I'm gonna call him. I got a guy. Because they gotta be. They gotta be.
I don't want them no more. I was just playing.
No,
That was old. So like it was a while ago. It was before y'all
no,
came.
I didn't, okay, but I'm just saying you gotta be able to be in this realm and not feel intimidated.
Right.
So I got a guy.
Okay, I got somebody said they want your Beyonce tickets. Since you don't want to go.
For
no more.
which one? Because they don't want them Atlanta tickets. I'm gonna tell you them right now.
Oh, that's gonna turn. We should go to that one.
They in they in the Club Renaissance area. So
Oh,
You know we talking to Marla.
stop.
These some ballers that ass. Okay, so let's see. Let's
But
see.
no, I'm reading in the comments. It says Lady B music won't stand the test of time. I'm not a Beyonce fan,
But I think it
but
will.
Beyonce gonna be Tina one day.
That's
Yeah.
the goal. That's her goal. Beyonce's old music between Destiny Child and this new Beyonce, I think definitely stood the test of time. I don't know a lot of Beyonce's new music.
No, I don't know the new album at all.
I don't.
I like the new album.
You like it?
Mhm.
I should listen to it
I
attentively.
don't think so.
Oh,
But I like it.
Maybe like listen to while you're working out because it's very like fun. And
I don't work
upbeat.
out.
It'll put. Oh, well, you look good.
No, that needs
I'm
to
just
be me
playing. I'm just
listening to
playing.
it while I'm exercising.
I had you looking at my dress tag. Like I need to be working out. Don't play.
No, I thought you'd be in the gym.
Yeah, I'll be in there.
She
No,
just
I
I
feel
looked
like
feel
good.
like, I
You're in a
mean,
good
you know,
mood.
for what it is, for me, it's a well-produced album.
Okay.
Auditorily, it sounds good.
Mm.
The way that they structure the tracks, the way that they move to the next track from the last track, it's just a good. You've be through listening to it before you realize you're done with it.
Okay.
For me, that's
Listen
how
to this one. People claim that the LGBTQIA plus community is the group that buys tickets and downloads. Okay.
I can go with that.
Okay. Her music will stand the text of time, I'm sure, because she's too
Test. talented
and diverse. Okay. And then last but not least, Regina Lavender said textbook only. I mean, Marilyn said, Marilyn, you don't like Beyonce at all. Marilyn's like, look, I don't like her. All right. So that leads us into June being a celebration of love. Like for, love is love. And that's what we hear a lot of when people are talking about sexuality and celebrating LGBTQIA plus and our brothers and sisters who identify as such. Now, a lot of people say you don't have to identify as anything, but then you have Black History Month. You have, what are we doing? Caribbean History Month.
This is also Latino history.
Latino
Month.
History Month. So identifying as something and having a flag and having a community and knowing that legislation is needed. So I want one of you all to pull up the history of June being Gay Pride Month. And, you don't even hear that a lot anymore. You'll say pride now. People ain't really saying gay pride no more. Like, it's pride. And so I think about, well, what are we proud of? Like, do we have to identify as LGBTQIA plus to be proud? Or can we use June just to be proud?
Juneteenth is in the same month.
Okay. Proud.
Proud.
Free. Liberated. Okay.
Liberated.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. What else? Let's see. Lillian's looking. We're trying to see, like, how did this start?
It started in 1970.
1970. So back in the 70s, according to our viewer, we were all about what? How were we then?
Me in the 70s.
All
I
of
was
us,
just
he
born,
said.
yeah.
We were what?
I was in my teens, maybe.
So we were
I
teenagers.
was born in
I
69.
wasn't thought about.
In the 70s? Okay, yeah, we were. Yeah, okay.
Y'all hated babies.
But he said we were.
Y'all hated babies, huh?
Yeah, early 80s. Okay, so in the 70s, there was a need to celebrate, show pride, be able to be out and open about who you were. But we know that didn't really start until recently, in my opinion. People could be who they are and not be as ostracized as they were back before pride was a thing.
Well, only because of my post knowledge.
Okay.
Think about the 1970s and gay culture. They
Mhm.
were getting sick and they didn't know what exactly was going on. They were making families because their families were kicking them out. So they had to have something to be excited about and to, celebrate together. You had the ballroom dancing and all that good old stuff. Yes.
I want to
So
go.
that's probably
a pole
why
show.
I'm not a pride expert, but I'm really thinking because there were so many people not understanding the gay community at that time, and they were starting their own homes and houses, to feel loved and feel accepted, that this was another part of that.
Okay.
And I will say this, that people took they're one of the communities that took control of their narrative.
Yeah. Okay. Let me give you
Because
some
their
thoughts on
narrative, the narrative of homosexuality and gay and things of that nature was headed downhill in the time of the HIV and the AIDS epidemic, and they were getting a downhill
that.
slope
That
on the
was the only
narrative.
narrative.
And it was a very negative narrative. And somebody at some point said, we've got to do something different, and we've got to make them understand that this is not who we are in a total.
Mhm.
It's happening in our community, but it's not our total community. Now that's the person we probably need to find and see who was smart enough to say, you know what, we're going to redirect the narrative of our community, and then have a talk with them and see how we can redirect the narrative of our community.
So what if our communities are the same? Like we have an intersection within the communities of African American individuals and those who will identify with whichever line of the flag that they represent. It seems as if there's been some intersection, like is we in there?
Yeah, I mean, there is an intersection in that community, but it's mainly still on the other side of that community. I'm saying for a total of where we talked about the blackness and the black community, right? We have to get that strong and passion about being black and a black narrative that we control what's out there. Because like I said, they're really trying to erase that from us. They're trying to take the black history and the black acknowledgement and even everything that we created. They didn't teach us everything in school, but when I went to find out about what we had created as black people,
How long?
but
did
it
this-
all was stolen and taken, or somebody took the concept all because we didn't understand paperwork and copyrights and patents.
right.
Yeah, that was crazy to me.
Listen to these comments. They put substantial money once again behind their movement. Hey, I will counsel you if y'all don't. We not represented here. Oh, we got a council culture. So you think about the cancel culture coming from. You ain't we not a part of this. Okay, you cancel. You said somebody else. Oh, you cancel. Oh,
Arsenio.
you don't want us around. Oh, you cancel.
Arsenio. When Arsenio made the comeback, right? He wouldn't embrace the culture. And he came back and he left.
You're canceled. Bye-bye.
He came back and he left.
Bye-bye. All right, next comment. I'm glad that the gay community revealed themselves today because biblically, we have learned to hate them and send them to hell in a nutshell. So I'm gonna represent and be proud. I like that Regina went there because that is a big part of it. Like, in spite of what the world says, I'm proud. I'm going to be proud, especially in June. All right, let's look at this one. Pride came about because on Stonewall in Manhattan, New York, 1970, but it didn't really become reality until 1998 or 99. Thank you for that. Yep, Stonewall
Yeah,
Uprising in the
I'm
70s.
reading about Stonewall Uprising now. Yeah, that's gonna be my rabbit hole for the rest of the
My
night.
early
Right.
understanding of Pride was a parade.
Just a parade.
Yeah, and it probably started in one place and it branched out. And as time has come to show that more people are embracing of it, then that's, I think, where it come from. But I do want to say, it's real easy in this conversation when talking about the LGBT community and the Black community to be participating in oppression Olympics. I think two races.
Wait a
can be-
minute. Oppression Olympics. Eddie, I wish I had a trophy. Carry on.
Two races can be being run at the same time without them overlapping. You know, I don't think that the journey of LGBT intersects with the journey of the Black community, except for Black members of the LGBTQ community. Now, they got that double struggle because they got to deal with Blackness and they got to deal with the barriers in the LGBTQ community. And I think that we can see both of those as their own paths. And my Blackness is 100% my problem, but somebody else's gayness is 100% their problem. Trying to put those things on a scale of which one is worse is just a futile journey. I think we can see them all as separate. All the races of oppression can all be separate and can all be seeking the same level of acceptance and progress without feeling like one is getting more than the other one. Even though from the vantage point of my struggle, it's going to look like that in a lot of different ways, a lot of different times.
Okay. So one struggle at a time. That's what I'm hearing.
For your culture.
For your culture. So don't latch on to another struggle or another cause or another something and try to make it be a universal fight or push, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, like people be like, I can't believe they talking about putting trans bathrooms in these buildings and we still getting killed by the police. Those two things don't got nothing to do with each other. Like both of those are battles that one group is waging that really don't have nothing to do with me. An extra bathroom don't have nothing to do with me. I know what bathroom I'm going in. I don't have to be like, well, they getting something and I ain't getting nothing. That don't have to be how we frame it in the dialogue in the Black community.
And I'm looking at this comment here from Errol says that I think we have to define human rights and civil rights, and then we will have to see. And I think that's exactly what you're saying. They're two different races and done at the same time. You don't have to make one the same as the other. You know, we needed civil rights, or we need civil rights. They need civil, they need human rights because they're human beings, and nobody should be treated differently in any regard. But they're both struggles, but they're on two different levels. And I think we have to make sure that they both get some attention and they both get the things that are needed to make them positive in the community, period.
Well, at some point, a lot of oppressed groups have not been looked at in the context of their humanity, but their abnormality. And at some point, whiteness said that we got abnormalities, and a lot of groups saying that LGBT community got abnormalities, and they are using those abnormalities to say y'all shouldn't exist like this. And if y'all do exist, we don't want y'all to exist in a way that makes us uncomfortable. You know, so Black people, y'all shouldn't be around us because we're uncomfortable, and gay people, y'all shouldn't be around us because it makes us uncomfortable.
So I always wonder why the conversation has to be so complicated. I like one of the slogans from the LGBTQIA plus community that says "Love is love." Like that's simple. It's simple, right? Like it doesn't take a lot of explanation. You know, well, I identify as blah 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 because blah blah blah, and my mama put me out because she don't believe that.
But you have to remember what you said is that simple when people allow it to be. But when you have other things going on with folks and they believe in stuff that is, okay, let's just go back to what we talked about in politics earlier. The people who are following simple things like DeSantis and MAGA, right? The MAGA folks who know this is not true or shouldn't be, but because they just want to stand on that side, they stay on that side. That's just you feeling some kind of way about something, and you'll stay on there even though you know what's right and what's simpler for them.
All right.
I just want Eddie to know that he has messed me up. I got Richard Simmons over here versus Malcolm X, and it's not working with the Olympics. Like I've been out of this conversation. For a second. He really got me messed up with the Olympics.
I'm getting this thing worked on.
Just know that I'm gonna put a whole series together when I leave here because this is gonna be good.
So, all right, the comfort level. Kate started by saying, "I am an ally." Why did you say that?
Well, because I just like to show support. I have had a lot of friends who have been quote unquote closeted and afraid to come out. And I like letting people know that I am that person that you can come to, that you can get that love from if mom, dad not, feeling you right now.
Mhm.
I'm your friend. I got you. And I think that's what the ally community is about. Even if your blood relatives aren't there for you, you have people that are your allies for life.
The difference between allies and advocates, I stand with you. Like, I actually will advocate on your behalf. I will actually push legislation to protect you. I will help you speak to people who may not understand what you're trying to say. I will mediate on your behalf. Got a comment right here that says freedom is a consistent and constant fight for a right. Everybody got to fight for something. DeSantis is the devil in a suit. Right here in Alabama, we need to pay attention to the bills in Montgomery. They are doing the same thing as Florida. And we do know that the LGBTQIA plus community is also a part of what's being discussed and plotted against in these new legislations. Like, it's coming up.
Well, the good thing about them is they have money to put behind lobbyists to look out for their interests. So that's one good thing about their side of the struggle.
Okay.
I think that there are a lot of people, and this go back to an earlier point. I think there are a lot of people who can't conceptualize how villainous people who have ill intent for oppressed communities can potentially be. Because I think a lot of us are like, why do they need all of this support and this big up? But I feel like that if the wrong conservative got a magic wand that gave them unlimited power, they would wipe off the gay population. I mean, I don't think they would let those humans exist.
But those humans are their sons and their grandsons and daughters.
And then sometimes it's because they don't want people to know that they exist in the community.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of them got hidden agendas because they don't want nobody to know that they're a part of the community, because they built these personas and things like that. And I mean, just for a real like moment of clarity and truth, I am a true like converted phobe.
Okay.
I had underlying phobias because of my upbringing, because of the generation I grew up in, because of the people I grew up around, because of family members and things like that. I didn't even know how much of a homophobe I was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to really do some research in my mind. And so I'm truly like a converted homophobe, because now it doesn't matter. Just because of what you choose to be doesn't affect me in the way I was told that it would be. So I am, they say ally for life or whatever. I'm about what's right for people forever.
Okay, right.
And so I had to get over it.
I like that.
I had to get over it and get through it. And so now I have friends who are in that community, who are my friends. And if I'm with them, you're not going to do them nothing that you would do my black friend or my white friend. You know what I'm saying? They're my friend. And feel like you feel. And it doesn't make me no different from who I am. It doesn't make me part of that community. It just makes me, like you said, an ally to a person who deserves human rights and to be embraced for who they are. Period.
Right.
My brother and I, we used to work at Red Lobster together, and we had a gay coworker, and my brother was on the phobe side until we had a conversation. And the conversation for me solidified my allyship, where the coworker was talking about when he first came out, his daddy pretty much beat him to a pulp when he came out. And he told me that, Eddie, I really genuinely do wish that I could love a woman the way that you love a woman. And that may be just a specific place on the pathway of LGBT or gay community, and not saying that that's what everybody's journey is, because he loves women to that degree. But the reality is he can't, because that's not built into him, and he's just going to love who he is regardless. It just really gave me different insight to understanding that journey for some people. And for the kind of person I am, I can't not be an ally.
Right.
To not only him, but to a lot of oppressed groups that exist. For me, it is humanity first. And when I start taking your humanity away from you when we get to being somebody that's unapologetic domestic abuser, a sexual assaulter, murderer, when we start getting there, then I can remove some of your humanity. But gay, race, none of that stuff gonna remove your humanity for me. You got to be a problematic person who is creating more harm in the world then you are once you creating harm, for me, you trading out your humanity for that. But you're not creating harm by being gay. You're not creating harm by being of a minority culture. You're not creating harm by just existing as the way that you exist in this world.
I like that. Thank you, guys. So the gentleman spoke out, which says a whole lot. So you all definitely won't be canceled as allies. I appreciate you for that. I got a comment from Miss Harris that says, "I agree, Mr. Big Daddy." Mr. Big Daddy.
Mr. Big Daddy.
Might need a doctor. Might need a doctor or lawyer or firefighter who's gay. Treat folks how you want to be treated, regardless of who they love. It ain't your business.
True story.
And that's the other piece now. This may bother somebody. It's really not my business. So why do you have to be so vocal? Why do you have to be so out? Why do you have to be so demonstrative with your sexuality or with your lifestyle? Because it's really not our business. So 9948949, maybe.
I think it only really triggers people when they are the quote unquote stereotypical gay man or gay woman, like the stud look or the very flamboyant man look.
Yeah.
That's the only time it really comes into play. Any other time, people aren't thinking about people's sexuality.
And I think when people have been suppressed
Okay.
for so long, when they've been forced to be okay. So I had a niece who decided, she said, this is the community I want to be a part of.
Okay.
My conversation with her at the time was, Uncle gonna love you, but there are things that come with being a part of this community. One, trusting you in an area with same-sex, younger, you know what I'm saying, cousins or people that's around. Two, understand that everybody's not going to embrace you. That's a part of joining that community, and everybody's not going to be nice to you. So you're going to have to take the stand to take the stand.
Okay.
And if you're willing to do that, I'm with you. I got you. I just had the ability to see her 2 Saturdays ago at my daughter's graduation. And she's doing the transformation from being female or looking feminine to wanting to look like the side that she runs with. But when she came to me, guess what? I'm gonna hug her and throw her in his lap like the young one that I love since she was a kid.
Don't pick me up.
And that's what I'm doing. Because that's who you are to me. That's what I love. No matter what you choose to be, I got her.
No matter who
you know
I
what I'm saying?
Put me
I got
down.
well, you know I got you too.
Don't
Don't act like you don't know. Only if you got on pants, though. You know I'm picking you up. You know that.
Put me down. 994-8949, 994-8949 is the number if you want to join in on this conversation. The first Sunday of June, just kind of breaking the ice on some things. We have some shows coming about in the month that will dig deeper into these topics. But the first Sunday is the first Sunday. What you got, Lillian?
Now, one thing you said, and it's kind of stereotypical, and I just want to kind of straighten that out a little bit.
It was the first one.
Sometimes people villainize gay people and say they don't want them around children. They're just like everybody else. And
I'm not a pedophile. I'm just
they
gay,
make
like,
them pedophiles. And that's not to say that you're
no. I was saying, but with
That's what she's gonna have to look forward
the
to.
coming out of it, people are going to say that. I'm not
you.
saying that you're not
Right.
or that you're going to do that, but people become untrusting. They feel like this is what may happen, and it's just part of the plan for some people. So what I was telling her, be aware of everything that comes with your decision. Not that that's how I feel, but this is what comes with it. And that's all, you know what I'm saying? That's what I was telling her.
What you're saying, but
You have to know what all comes with it.
I have to kind of straighten her out on certain things. Like, I'd be like, Mom, you're so racist. Like, sometimes she'll do stuff against other races. Like, gosh, you're racist.
It's my generation. That's how I was brought up. Leave me
That's what they
alone.
told us. That's how it should be.
And then that's kind of how she was, that she would kind of villainize gay people as pedophiles automatically. Like, when I was a little girl, I couldn't be around the guy who played the organ at the funeral home. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I could be around the other guys. That just doesn't make sense. He might protect me more than they would.
Right.
You know, but
Right.
that's just something, I guess, through the generations, we become more accepting and we more understand not to villainize people just because of their sexuality.
Yeah, our mental evolution and emotional evolution, it has really broken down some barriers. Now, if we're speaking from, we're not identifying as LGBTQIA or plus. We haven't done that, but this is a general conversation because we all operate the same space. We live in the same spaces, work in the same spaces. We're social in the same spaces. We have these conversations on and off the air. So when you think about what that must be like to have, like, for the things that you had to tell her, I don't want anybody to be telling a child that about me because I love another woman or I love another man, and this person that you love, this auntie that you like, you can't be around them because they're gay. What?
Right.
So you
Yeah.
think about that. You think of, what was the other one you said? Everybody's not gonna be nice.
Everybody's not going to be
And then
nice.
think about you being black and female, and they're already not nice. Everybody's already not nice, and then now you're gay too. Now you want to wear a Wanda Sykes pantsuit? Oh, we're not being nice to you. What am I supposed to do with that?
But it's part of, I just feel like if you don't tell people or be honest with them and give them, count all the costs. It's like business. Before you go into it, count all the costs. Don't just look at Kate and be like, oh, she's successful. Let's get into the funeral business. Or anybody can put somebody in a box and put them in the ground. Kate gonna have a whole conversation with you that's gonna make you feel some kind of way about the business. She's still in it because she's willing to take on all the cost of the business. Such is life. When you decide what you're gonna do, like, you have to be able to take on everything that comes with that, whether it's career paths. Everybody can't do what you do in Radio Woo. Everybody can't do what you do in therapy and counseling. It's just when you take it on, you have to be able to take on everything. And that was my talk to her. I'm with you with what you want to do, but make the consideration of what you're doing and be able to see what's coming with it. That was it.
So in the black community versus gay Olympics, would this be the parents sitting down with their black son about being pulled over by the police or just being stereotyped versus your niece wanting to be more in what we call a stud like image? Is that like equating to in the Olympics?
Well, Eddie said don't have to.
Eddie.
He said it didn't have to equate. It has to be, both has to be done. Both talks have to be made.
Well, I don't necessarily think so, because
Okay.
it's a luxury for somebody in the LGBTQ community to have an accepting enough family member for them to come out to and open up to. Most of the time for the LGBTQ community, it is a lonely, isolated journey that they feel like they can't come out because if one person in their environment that they love and that loves them, if they believe they're going to lose that love because they come out, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And most of the time they got to get to a point where they find themselves, because most kids are not going to find themselves to that degree to come out. And that's why you hear a lot of stories about LGBTQ community either pretending to be straight for so long until they get that confidence and get that identity to come out. And we have a society in which society is embracing it more, so people are coming out sooner and more frequently, which is making it seem like it's more prevalent. But it's you can go to the Bible and find a bunch of gay stuff going on. It ain't
From the
new.
beginning, them
It's
angels did
just
not
the
want them
societies
daughters.
have been suppressing the ability to have those conversations.
That is so true.
What?
Literally,
Wait.
the other day at work, someone asked me, like, why is everybody gay now? And I was like, it's not that everyone's gay. It's just that we're in a space now where people can be open about who they are. And then I also noted the fact that, like, y'all grew up seeing like Prince and Dennis Rodman and stuff like that. Like, what did
Wait,
that,
but Dennis
like,
Rodman ain't gay.
Yeah, but
He was
not.
just cross-dressing.
And
Yeah.
Prince ain't
But-
gay either.
but
What
that-
y'all
Prince
want to
was not
say?
gay.
He can
but
pull
I
more
was-
girls than these two right
Well,
here.
I don't know. They
Yeah.
never identified as such.
Yeah, they
Oh,
never
that's
But he
all I know.
made that
identified.
statement. He was like, I can fool every woman in this room.
Yeah.
Turn
They
up.
never identified as gay, which is okay, but they also were not the norm, like, male that y'all grew up
Right.
seeing, like, in comparison to like Michael Jordan or something like that. So
Well, what I
Well, it's
don't
just-
understand is why did Andre 3000 always get the pass? Even though he cools
'Cause he
on or
fine.
what?
What
Okay,
did he
Prince
do
fine
that
too.
with? No.
But
No.
Andre had the white wig on. Andre has always been
Afro.
eccentric.
Futurism.
Okay, so that's where he gets the pass.
Yes.
Got it.
So the way I was going to answer your question earlier is that the biggest issue going on is patriarchy.
Okay.
The reason why it's hard to see men being extra non-manly is because patriarchy says that this is the box that man must fit in.
Mhm.
And if
The
you
man
step
box.
outside of that box,
Mhm.
yes, then you're going to be viewed as a problem to anybody holding on to patriarchy, which is going to be damn near all men and some women, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think that before society embraced homosexuality, I think they embraced, especially in the black community, alternative blackness. And I think that Andre 3000 was a representation of alternative blackness. I mean, all the backpack rappers, for real, Kanye West and Common, they were alternate to what image of black you had seen with Cash Money and No Limit and all the prominent rap at the time. So I think Andre 3000 fortunately fit in a space where like just a different way of being black showed up, and they attributed to being alternate black instead of, you know, homosexual.
Afrofuturism. Andre never gave gay vibes, and I'm not just defending him because I love him. Lil Nas X, just gay, like he just said he wants to have a baby, and even put one on his stomach. He put like a whole baby.
Real alternative.
That was right, like Lil Nas X. I said what I said. Yes. Who else?
Lil Nas X troll.
Went in.
He trolled with his homosexuality. He's a troll from the jump. So it was always gonna be a problem. Anything he did was gonna be a problem. Like he made them devil shoes. He always gonna be a problem for folks.
But that kind of goes back to the point of having to be so out. So how did you all feel about gay is the new black?
I haven't heard.
Don't get canceled now.
It wasn't a movement. It wasn't a movement.
It didn't move.
It was an isolated group of people who did something.
Okay.
Just like when white folks bring up that protest where they was like pigs in a blanket frying like bacon or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like they try to make it seem like all the protests is like that, and it's just an isolated group of extremists who create what narrative they want to have for their lives, and it don't move nowhere.
Yeah,
so
it's
the new black no movement.
Move nowhere.
It's just like the saying, like if it doesn't apply, let it fly.
Okay.
Like, if it doesn't apply to you, just don't. I mean, I'm not gonna say don't acknowledge it, but it's like you don't have to be so in an uproar.
Don't be bothered.
Yeah.
But that's an oppression Olympic statement. That's one of those.
Which statement?
Gay is the new black. It's one of those situations that's really gonna pit the people who look at black civil rights as more important than gay civil rights. When like I said earlier, like black civil rights is more important for me because that's my struggle, and gay civil rights is more important for a gay person because that's their struggle. Like I think what we gotta face in the black community is how we gonna embrace black people who have the gay struggle as well.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of people in the black community who are homophobic and who ain't finna accept gayness and who act as if gay black members of the community put their gayness in front of their blackness when you can't untangle that knot.
Have I seen some gayness put in front of some blackness? Yes, often.
And that's what Tyler Williams was talking about.
Okay, look at you segueing in
How
here.
that look though?
The radio sister.
How does putting gayness in
before
front of
blackness? I'm not gonna rock this kufi, but I'm gonna rock this pride wig, and I'm not gonna throw my fist, but I'm gonna throw my heart rainbow.
But that makes it seem as if they can't get accosted for being black before gay. Like I don't think you can turn them off. That
for me, those examples that I just gave are really just radio. Like right now in this moment, me thinking about gayness before blackness. The pride that I show for gayness is not the same pride that I have for blackness. I'm more out about gayness than I am about understanding or being present in my blackness. Blackness takes a backseat to your gayness. That's what I'm speaking of, and I see that way more often than I see blackness before gayness.
And I think that gets us back to where I was talking about. We all exist on this scale. That puts how you need to see blackness in a very narrow range in which they can just be a person that haven't been able to connect with their blackness in life, and they black the way they are black, but it just looks like because they don't exemplify blackness the way that we want them to see it exemplified, we won't call it that. So it makes it seem as if it's an intentional choice versus they might not even have the connection with blackness to actually exemplify it in a way that we would see as being exemplified greater than their homosexuality.
All right, now, and we may be talking about a certain demographic or a certain generation as well, because I don't know that generations after the 80s are even really black. They're just black by color. They don't have a lot of pride in being black or a lot of knowledge in blackness. We have two people in the studio. Would you all like to speak to that? How black are you? Like, what is black? What is it like to be black in this Juneteenth month where when we found out we were free, is that something that is relevant to your generation? Or is it more like, I mean, yeah, we know we black. It's cool.
I feel like we know we're black. I just feel like, from y'all standpoint as older people, we don't
Girl, who
know
you talking to?
She said,
the struggles that, y'all really face. We just know, we just coming up here in this generation is doing everything, media. We're about social media. We're about the internet,
Social media,
Yeah,
the internet,
social media.
and what else?
I think it's all about image. What we
Image.
look like right now, what we're doing, how much money we got,
Mm,
what we're wearing. It's not really about what we're going through. So
okay. All right. And that's
I-
what we see.
That is real. It is definitely about image, like likes, what you wearing, who you know, where you going, where you driving, stuff like that.
But not being black doing these things. It's not about
Mm.
I don't it doesn't matter that I'm black doing these things. I'm just doing these things.
yeah.
Interesting. So where does the blackness fall? Is it an afterthought? I mean, I'm just brown. Like, look at me. You see
Yeah.
it.
Do you
I
ever
don't know,
ever
I
have
just-
moments where you're reminded, hey, but you black?
Baby, you black.
Well, yes, I did go to Vestavia Hills High School and middle school. So I definitely
Wow.
had plenty of moments where I realized like I am not like y'all and y'all aren't like me. But
Yeah.
I spent quite some time trying to be like them just because that was like my environment.
Mm.
Then once I got to school, I kind of had like an identity crisis. Like I've been acting like someone I'm not this entire time. So I kind of went through this transformation where I had to figure out who I was like outside of who I was trying to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's a double-edged sword. I think the younger generation has the luxury of not hyper focusing on blackness the way that
Okay.
we had to grow up hyper focusing on blackness.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, that luxury for them to us makes it seem like they're not as connected to blackness as we had to be when they
for
don't
sure.
have to be. So the question becomes, I don't know, would we rather them have gone through the hyper focusing of blackness that we had to get the level of blackness that we have? Or-
It didn't hurt us.
Is it okay? I mean, did it
No.
not hurt us? Are
No.
you certain? We got
That's why we so
post-traumatic slave
aggressive. That's why we so
syndrome out here as a
aggressive.
culture. You know what I'm saying? But like, I think that we wanted it to have been a rites of passage
Yeah.
that they didn't have to have. And it's one of those things where you make it better, like you make it better for your kids, because I don't want you to go through what I went through, but better look like a problem. And I have some parents who take their kids to a better environment. They take their kids to Calera for the better environment, but
Oh,
they get
man.
mad when they start asking for boat shoes and wear their shorts above
Why you
their
don't want them
knees.
J's?
You know what I'm saying? It's like
You
I
know,
made the
you-
world better for you, but also
Wow.
I didn't expect you to become like a 75% white boy
Let
on
me
that
tell
journey.
you. Let me tell you. That's a show that's coming. That is a show that's coming. It's in the works now. We have one that's coming on the 25th, and we have one that's coming in July, and it's that one where parents do move to places like Alabaster, Vestavia, Odenville to get their children in a better school system or to get them out of the hood. And then you get children that don't even know nothing but how many likes they got.
Well, And I
Wow.
think a lot of time it's because we want them to have that experience, because without that experience, I feel the newer generation is just a little too entitled.
Oh,
They don't know they feel like they're born with it. Like it's here, we've got it, we've got access to it. We didn't have to do nothing to get it. And I think our thing is we don't mind giving it to them, but y'all have to know the struggle that we had to get it.
Come on.
We weren't born with it. We had to do some things and make some ways and get through some stuff. And like they can't even deal with hardship on the job. I quit. He said it, I'm gone. You know, and I'm like,
Get back in
you
there.
quit what? To do what? Because he said what? When I had to work with somebody who didn't even like a black person,
Right.
and you knew he didn't like a black person.
Yeah. Yes,
But
sir,
for
no,
you, I
ma'am.
did what I had to do.
Right.
So that's the thing. I think the entitlement part of it is what we're trying to get rid of.
I actually support that.
What? Walking off.
Yes,
'Cause
I
my mama
actually-
got two jobs.
I support Gen Z not advocating for these capitalist corporations that's not gonna give you nothing. It's people who don't work for corporation for 40 years and got let go because they weren't about to give you no
True.
increase. They ain't loyal to you, but we loyal to them, and we praise that loyalty blindly. So I mean I support like the boldness that is had to be able to do that. Whether if it work against you, then you shouldn't do that. But if it can work for you, I'm good with that.
Fast
But
five.
also,
Fast five.
last piece of me,
Okay.
I think if we went through it and they didn't, I think it's our failure if they didn't get that conveyed to them. Because what we went through was so traumatic that we don't want to talk about it, and us not talking about it means that that's the only way they can get it is from us.
Oh my goodness. So if we don't talk about it, what? You remember what you just said?
If we don't talk about it, then they're not gonna be able to get it.
And the only way that they'll get it is
If they didn't go through it, the only way they can get it is if we deliver it to them.
so that's why pride is important. Right? Okay. Great point, Woo. Comment here.
Like I didn't know if you meant regular pride or like
Gay
the pride
pride.
we've been talking about.
Yeah.
The
I
gay pride.
think that's the connection. The reason that you know, they are in this level about so many other things, but then we get situations where we hear about a young person hang themselves or ran away or whatever we may hear that's been so traumatic, and that, you know, I'm oppressed. I don't have anybody to talk to. I don't have anybody to relate to about these feelings that I'm having. Heterosexuality, we talk about that. Don't have sex because you'll get pregnant. Yeah. That we talk about it. You know, you're supposed to get married to a man or a woman. That's the conversation. But any other sexuality, the conversation it can be difficult to have. So if you see other people who express that they understand how you feel or they felt how you felt, that's a community for you. So I think that's that point. Really quickly, Big
My
Bro.
last point of the Fast Five. I love all y'all. Love to be loved, and that's what it is.
All right. I love all y'all. More comments. I do want to share these. Reminds me of that line in Beverly Hills Cop. We can't see the emojis here. Just so you know, when Eddie told the black guy, "You've been hanging around this guy too long." Eddie was mocking him, saying, "We won't fall for the banana in the tailpipe." What's Beverly Hills Cop? You remember that? Okay, I remember that one. She's in university now. However, when she was at Oak Mountain High School, she said, "I don't talk to any of the black girls at my school. I have maybe 2 black friends." Not sure what that comment is to.
She said she has a niece that
Okay.
says she feels awkward around other black people. in her
Oh,
family.
now that we're gonna talk about that as we get closer to Juneteenth. Something that I was thinking about with this conversation and just thinking about pride and what we're proud of and how we express that. Juneteenth, a lot of people really just learned what Juneteenth was about. Like, right? Like a lot of people just learned that. But on the 4th of July, you got a new outfit. You're going to buy fireworks. We're going to buy the meat section out at the store. And that is not even, you know, we're a part of all history, but the history behind Juneteenth is what we're going to be talking about on the show and educating about as the month progresses. So stick around for that. All of the pride that comes in this month, all of the celebrations and awarenesses that come in June, we're going to tackle those this month. A lot of events are happening. So it's a lot to be a part of in June, and we're going to be all over all of that. Anything else to the conversation tonight? We talked about images of blacks in media and how that is impacting all of the culture and conversations. Anything else to add? Any other thoughts?
You know,
I'm just happy that we have a space to have these open conversations, and I'm glad that Eddie and Dwayne have been able to help themselves and other people become more self-aware and realize that at the end of the day, people are just human, and it's okay to just love someone for who they are outside of what they do in their personal life.
Love it. Anybody else?
Yeah, I want to agree. I think it's good we have these conversations, especially for the young people, because
Ooh.
you know, just like me and you know the other intern today, we just learned about Juneteenth. A lot of people my age don't know. You know, we just celebrating because of the colors, because you know it's the trending. So
It's kind of black.
you know,
I
we
think
need
I'm
to talk
black.
about these things.
Well, you're gonna learn more. So keep hanging around. That makes me feel really good that our young sisters are a part of these conversations with us, and that we do have a platform. Eddie, you can get the last words tonight. I'll
Just-
give them to you.
just to connect some dots, you speaking about Juneteenth and how a lot of us are just finding out about it. I don't think we don't have to be shamed about not knowing about that, because the propaganda and the marketing that was done to keep us from knowing about it is the same thing that CRT is trying to do. And if it's successful, it's going to be doing that for future generations to not know about the importance of the things that went on in our history.
Good night. Talk to y'all tomorrow at noon. Lady Wu's Midday Fun Shui and the free lunch flashback at noon right here on B94.9 WATV. Y'all be vital.
Mark this show. This is what I'm supposed to say.
That felt good.
Like I need a drink. And I don't drink.
That was Courtney and Liz. You said you ready to drink? I think I'm gonna do it.